Hello everybody, Fox4 India Charlie Echo. I want to talk to you today about minimum things you have to have in your ham radio shack to do projects or to do builds or just instruments that will give you a hand in building small things. If you're an experienced constructor, an experienced ham radio operator, or just a novice, there are some things that you need to have in your shack just to do accessories or just to build radios from zero, from scratch. As you can see, the first thing you have to have is a voltmeter and an amp meter. A simple instrument that you can find in any ham radio shack, and you can test continuity and resistors and everything. It's a thing to have. This is a must. This you can buy this for 10, 15, 20 euros, even less, or you can build it yourself. You can build voltmeters, and you don't have to have a big things like this. You can always have a small little Chinese voltmeter. Second thing, test board. Of course, with the wires and everything. This will help you to do, before you start soldering, to do your kits or just to simulate your schematics without losing time welding. So for small projects, this is very good to have in your shop. You will see here I have a soldering iron. I bought this on eBay, I think. It goes about 480 degrees maximum. And you can change temperature, of course, with a small tip. For me, this is enough. What else? LC meter. LC meter, it's a must. You will measure capacitance or inductance with it. You can use it to build antennas and also oscillating circuits. So it's a must to have. You'll find them even smaller. I have an older one. For me, this is enough. It's a must to have. For building antennas and everything else, I have a Mini 60. So this is an antenna tuner. An antenna analyzer, and it's a pocket size. It's very small. I have it for 5 years. It costs from $50 to $100. You're in the field, you have an old radio, you want to build an antenna, somewhere you go, just put this in your pocket, and you can measure every information of the antenna, the SWR, the resonance point, the capacitance, the resistance of the antenna. You can measure everything with this, and mine does Bluetooth connection, so I can see schematics on the phone. This is the one I use. I think now they're even smaller. So try to stick with the small one. I had even larger ones, and they're not very practical when you're going up on buildings or you're when you're using wire antennas. They're very difficult. So keep it small. This size is enough. I found it enough for me. For the people, the guys that are building radios and want to have a full testing antenna, buy an active antenna. This is an active antenna that works, I don't know, from some kilohertz all the way to 40 megahertz to test reception and everything like that. It's enough. If you don't want to buy an active antenna, make one. You can find schematics on the internet to build a small active antenna. I like it on the bench. It's a beautiful tool. Deep grip meter. This is not a must. If you have it, it's a very, very good tool. You can measure oscillating circuits, so you can see in which frequency circuits that you build will oscillate. Also, you can verify the antenna traps and everything with it. You can also find, you can also test crystals, or you can also search RF with this. You can, it can work as an RF sniffer. it's a little big. I have another one that weighs about 50 pounds, but like I said, it's not a must. But if you're building transceivers, or if you're building transmitters, it's good to have one of these with you. For giving power to your circuits, you can use an external power source, a regulating power source. I have a Chinese one. It's a very good power source, but if you want to start with a small lab, you can just forget that if you have small space and just use this. It's just a regulated power source, so you're putting 12 volts or 24 volts or 30 volts input from somewhere, and you can just regulate with this one, and you can transform this into that. Well, I think this goes 1 amp maximum, that goes 5, so try not to build big. This will be enough to make a small testing lab. What else? Oscilloscope. So this one, like you see, I don't have too much space here. So this one, if you're building a lot of transceivers or a lot of transmitters, you have to have this. It's just a voltmeter that shows voltage in time. So that's what the basic function of an oscilloscope. For a frequency meter, this for me it's enough. So I bought it on eBay. It cost about $5 to check frequencies, to see what frequencies I'm building a radio. This is enough just to calibrate things, or to calibrate old radios. This for me is just enough. Oh yeah, important, dummy load. You can see the price on it. This is a dummy load that I bought in a ham radio shop. It takes about 10 watts, I think, maximum. But if you don't have money to buy a dummy load, don't buy it, build it. I have one that was built. This is a 5-watter, so to ceramic resistor in parallel, 100 ohms, and you'll go like 10 watts maxi with 50 ohms input. So you can go like this or like this to build your old dummy load. You can build big ones in cans full of oil, but it's not. You can build it small, or you can. This is a tool that you can build yourself. It's not a thing to buy. If you find it cheap, buy it. If you don't find it cheap, build it. Another very important thing to have in the shop is a power meter. So buy an SWR and a power meter mixed. If you can find one that, say, you have output power, reflected power, and where the needles cross, you can check your SWR. This one is for 145 kilowatts up to 15 watts. What can I say more? You can find them even smaller. Always check your frequency for the working portion of the band that you are working. So don't try to go like UHF with this one. It's not going to show you the real values. It's a must in the ham radio upper A shack, because you are you have an obligation to see your RF output power. So it's also good for building projects. If not, you can just build them. This one I built, I don't know, about 10 years ago, and this is for VHF UHF, so it's not HF. And I have another one built for HF, and you have this one that's built for HF, and it goes power on the one side, reflected power on the other side, so you can check, and you have big high power, medium power, low power, and even lowest power. This is QRPP. You go like about 1 watt maximum, and just to adjust the dials. So you can find schematics to build everything I show you on this video. So if you can't buy it, build it. For transmitting and receiving test equipment, usually the only thing I use is this that I built myself. For transmitting, just a simple Coplet Oscillator, so I can test crystals, and also to test my receiving equipment in CW. And you can change the crystals. Sorry, you can change the crystals that you use, and you can use it in all the bands. So test equipment, this is enough for transmitting. For receiving, just buy as RTL SDR. It's 30 euros, and you can have it like a spectrum analyzer. I bought mine so I can put it on my phone, and if I want to test the signal or a filter to see how it works, just connect this on my phone, just check it with my phone. Simple as that. Just a speaker with a cable, and like this I can check all my projects for audio output. It's enough. This one holds me for about 3 or 4 days, and you have Bluetooth connection also. Buy cheap, and you can make beautiful projects with small things. You don't need too much in the lab. So you can see this is my whole lab. I don't have any other things, not up, not down. So this for me to build things is just enough. All the best from South of France. Bye, 73.